Okay, well, let's see. It's about 6 o'clock. I think that we're probably ready to start. So thank you everyone for being here. Just so everyone knows, we are recording this meeting and it's also being live streamed to Facebook. This is the public comment meeting for the 2024 to 2026 Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Triennial Goal. This is a public comment meeting, so we have invited members of the public to come give comments, which we will do after the presentation. My name is Samantha Ehrenborough. I am a community engagement specialist at UTA, and I'm going to be facilitating this meeting today. Let's see if I can, here we go. So this is just a little bit of an overview of what we're going to cover today. Right now we're in our introduction, and then we are going to invite Lauren Peterson to do our DBE presentation. She can introduce herself when she starts that. After her presentation, we will open it up for questions and also public comments. We'll ask, if you have a public comment, we'll ask that you raise your hand in the webinar and I can promote you to a panelist so that we can hear you. And then you will have 3 minutes to give your comment. You're also welcome to leave any questions or comments at any time in the chat, and we will make note of those. Some context for these proposed changes. We have a proposed goal to support federal requirements and UTA's goals regarding community support and fiscal responsibility. This goal, once approved, will be in place from 2024 to 2026, and DBE goals are reevaluated every 3 years. And that is why we are doing this today. Also, I will add that our public comment period is open until July 22nd, and we will have information at the end of this presentation on how you can leave an official public comment if you would rather do that, or if you're listening to this presentation after we've gone live. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and share Lauren's PowerPoint really quick. And again, Lauren, just let me know when you want me to change the slides and we can go. If you can see your PowerPoint, here we go. Sorry, it's always something. Okay, I'll mute myself.
Well, thank you, Sam. Out of the technical issues we could have had tonight, I'm going to say having a hiccup on the PowerPoint is probably the best one. I would first like to thank everyone in attendance tonight as we review our triennial goal and let you know how important it is you're here and that you give your public comments to what we are doing. Next slide, please. So what is the DBE program? The DBE program is Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program. This program helps support businesses that are socially and economically disadvantaged and allows them to have advocacy to basically get into government-funded and federally funded programs to promote their own business, to grow their business, and kind of get a foot in to programs that are a little more difficult to attain, especially for those who are running a small business or have or are currently socially and economically disparaged. UTA chooses our goals based on what we have done in the past. If we have attained these goals and a few other items that we'll go into in a couple other slides. We look at these goals every 3 years and we set them every 3 years. So for those who do not know, how does a business become a DBE? This is probably the most complex yet easiest to answer question that we get. So first off, you have to be 51% owned by a person who's socially or economically disadvantaged. An example of this would be a woman-owned business. If the woman owns 51% or more of that business, she has the ability to qualify. Same for minority-owned and a few other categories. You have to be under the umbrella of small business guidelines. And this is a pretty large umbrella and what can count. So definitely check with your local Chamber of Commerce, your SBA, and advocacy areas like this that can kind of help you set up those guidelines and a few other things to help get your small business going. Over 3 years of your taxes, you can't exceed 28.48 million, and you basically cannot have a net worth over 1.3 million. If you can check all these boxes, please reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you in more detail. And if you do qualify as a DBE, you get some nice things out of it. You get the ability to bid on federally funded projects. Your name goes into a directory. So not only UTA, but our partners, city members, anyone who's using government contractors can see your information, and they have the potential to use you as a bidding party. And I have to forget the color blindness is kicking here on that red. I guess it's, yeah.
I can read it. It says you receive opportunities to participate in federally funded projects.
Thank you. Next slide. All right, so how goals are set, because I know everyone in here absolutely loved math the first time through. Y'all have fond memories of that math teacher. So the simplest way we can explain it is we look at what is coming down the funding stream. So what do we think we're going to get from the feds? For this year, for this projection in general, we have 15 projects we know we're getting grant funding for. What we look at is what these projects are and what needs to be done. So how we determine that is by looking at the needs. Is it concrete? Is it construction? Is it traffic control? And we get all these together, and we basically put a number to them, which is an NACIS code. We then take all the DBEs, so disadvantaged businesses who fall under these codes, and we divide it by the total amount of firms in the state that have the ability to do that. So your larger construction firms, some of our larger partners. And this gives us the relative availability. That means how many DBEs do we have who can perform work and basically help us meet our goals. Because we have to look a little bit more realistically, as I'd love to say, all DBs all the time want to work with UTA. It's not always the thing. So we also look at desirability, past performance, and other issues that may affect one's ability to work or desire to work with government industries. And we weight this to our relative availability, and that is how we get our percentage for that. We then compare this percentage to what we've done over the past 3 years, so our past triennial, and we weight it again to get a realistic goal. And that is all the math I will talk about, I promise you. If you want more information on this, I'm actually a numbers nerd, and I'm more than happy to go into a disgusting level of detail for anyone. My contact information will be at the end of this these slides. All right, so I lied, there's going to be more math, I'm sorry. Our DBE participation 2020 to 2022. It is a little off than what we normally get. On average, our DBE goals have been around 7%. 2020 had a fun thing that I'm sure we all remember called the COVID-19 pandemic. And here we do see a depression in basically all of our projects across the board. So not only our DBE usage, but effectively everything that we're doing in regards to construction, capital projects, and development. From this, we had an influx of money in 2021 and 2022 from the feds that basically said, we need you to kind of get started work. We need you to start working again, and we're going to assist you with that. So we have a bit of a spike, as we can see there, because we jumped from a 2.77% to a 9.45 to a 12.80. Because we had this sudden spike in regards to the goal we are setting, we played a little more on the conservative side as the federal funds for COVID relief and CARES packaging is diminishing. So we're setting it a little more realistically, taking the fact that we aren't going to have like a surge of money trying to get everyone jump started again. So the overall goals for our federal fiscal year from 2024 to 2026, we're looking at an 8% figure. We still have a little federal funds left over from COVID that will kind of help buff us out here. And from the rate pre-COVID, we were growing pretty steadily. That 8% is where we would naturally be at this point. What we have here is a division between race conscious and race neutral. A race conscious goal is based on benefits that we're only kind of giving to our DBEs. So this is where we get a goal. So when I look at a project and we do the math and we look at the federal funding and we say, okay, for this project, there will be an 8% DBE goal. That 8%, we are actively advocating for DBEs to fill in, those positions in those jobs, in those crafts, and receive that money. If it is determined to be race neutral, advocacy is for DBEs and non-DBEs, and we do have a stronger advocacy pushing for small businesses to get it. For the question from Kenya, it is not supposed to equal 8%. Just for this example, it is each DBE contract we get will have a different goal. The overall goal for 3 years will equal up 8% or more. So if we have a $100,000 project and it's determined from the funding that we have 10% availability of DBEs, the goal for that project will be 10%. And then all our percentages over the next 3 years will be combined together with our total federal funding. And then we should hopefully end up around 8%. That is the goal that we are talking about tonight. So our anticipated projects. We have 15 anticipated projects that we're pretty sure we are getting funding for. Federal funding is always a fun game. I always like to call it the throw it out there and wish game. So these are strong areas in which we're going to get funding. So we have our larger areas, which would be our 33,000 to 35,000 South Max, our West Side Express, which would be 5,600 South, and our Midvale Valley Connector. So these are our 3 big projects. You can see we do have a smattering of smaller projects in here that are station area plans. We also have a Taylorsville BRT. We are currently finishing up the processing on that. We are somewhat aware of what the money will be awarded to that, but we are not ready to announce that. We will announce that at a later date when more is known. And if you are on this call or you have registered, you will be updated on that. And the total anticipated funds is roughly $93 million over the next 3 years. This is subject to change because we may be awarded more grant money. We may get grant money we did not know about. Some of the grants, it can take years for them to process through. Most recently, a grant we'd put in for 2017 cleared in 2021. So it is always subject to change. Realistically, it's probably not going to bounce too far from that 93 million mark. So our work assignment broke it down a little more simply for you. If you do want the NICS codes for these, please reach out to me. I can give you the 5 pages of codes that come down and get into really specific crafts. If you click again, there will be another little thing that pops up, Sam. So our top 3 fields that we are going to be recruiting for will be construction. This is general construction across the board. So concrete work, everything, hauling, welding, all that stuff is in there. Once again, if you want the codes for these, please reach out. Electrical and wiring will be a huge component, as well as plumbing, heating, and AC. We are doing a lot of station improvements, and these are going to be key factors in these station improvements. Before I do end, I would like to thank our intern. I doubt he's on right now, but he made this slide and I kind of got surprised by a few of the animations and they gave me, a little happy moment to end the day with. So are there any comments and questions to the slides or anything that we can take note of during this time?
Okay, well, if you do have a question, please put it in the chat and we can answer it. I'm going to go back to my slides that I had. Thanks, Lauren. That was great.
Just happy we didn't go by. Well, we may go viral.
You never know. We're gonna, since we already kind of asked for questions, we're now going to open up for public comment. If you do have a comment, please raise your hand. We'll promote you to panelists and we can give you mic access. And then you'll have 3 minutes to provide your comment. Okay. Well, I am going to move on from that, but I will be here till 7. So if you do have something you'd like to say, we've got some time. And I will just say, these are our opportunities for public comment. We are open till July 22nd. You can provide your public comment at this website. It's rideuta.com/doing-business/disadvantaged enterprises. You can also call this number 801-743-3882. It's option number 5. Or you can email us at hearingofficer@rideuta.com. And as always, if you need additional resources, just riding UTA, there is the transit app available, and then we do have our travel training available as well. We will, at this time, since we haven't had any comments or questions, I'm going to stop sharing to Facebook and stop the recording. But like I said, I will be on until 7 in case someone comes late. You're also welcome to leave a comment in the Facebook stream if you haven't done so already. And thank you for your time. We really appreciate it.